Hi, I'm Tulip.
And I'm Megan, and we're your direct line to the universe.
Welcome to the Calling in the Universe podcast, where we dial in to explore exactly what is happening behind the scenes. If you are mystically curious, join us in speaking on spiritual topics, philosophical life conversations, and some genuine spirit-led laughs and aha moments as we tap in and tune in together.
Now, let's dial up the universe and let's get into today's topic.
Hi, and welcome back to Calling in the Universe with Megan and myself, and we cannot wait to get into today's episode. Megan and I have been talking about it offline, and we were like, okay, we're going to bring in the colors, we're going to bring in the energy of the chakras, and we're going to bring in art into our lives. So welcome.
Hello, Tulip. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm loving this Leo season. I feel like I'm kind of a brand new person.
That's right. So yes, it is Leo season, and full transparency, I have Leo rising. I think a lot of people know that, right? So I always love Leo season, and along with that, we'll talk about a little bit about what's going on astrologically, because also Jupiter just moved into Leo like a few weeks ago. So we have Jupiter in Leo for like the next year. So we've really got this big, expansive, bright Leo energy right now.
So I heard as I was studying my astrology is that you can be 50% of your rising and 50% of your sun. So, or it could be even more. So if you're like in Leo season, do you feel like your rising is like taking up more space than like your sun sign?
Well, I would have to say with Leo rising, sometimes I feel like, because Leo is so big, and remember your rising sign, right? It's kind of how you present in the world. So I always say your rising's like your compass. It's like where you really direct your energy. So Leo is so big and so bright. I often feel that my Leo completely takes over sometimes some of my other signs. But I think for just generally in astrology, your sun, your moon, your rising sign, they're all in play. And what I would say to people out there, if you're wanting to know where Jupiter is hitting you in your chart, look at the sign on the house where you have Leo, because that's where you're going to be getting all that beautiful, buoyant, expansive, creative Jupiter energy happening for you.
So Jupiter, the way that I've learned it is like literally the good luck planet of them all, like
Yeah.
your lucky charm. It's and if you think
Yes.
about Jupiter, it's expansion. And so we get to expand in a lucky way almost, like in a way that feels so bright and aligned without having to, feel like the weight of the world on your shoulders to get by. It's like you are in your like green light era and you get to shine so bright in who you are, because Leo is all about who you really are, who is like inside of you waiting to be shining. And it's kind of like, it's the lion, right? And so when I think of lions, it's like they are just these beautiful, amazing creatures, but like a lot of the times they're just laying down looking fabulous and yawning. You know what I mean?
Yes,
because they're so Leo.
Yes. I when you say that, it's like I want to like strike a pose kind of thing with my Leo rising. There you go. Yeah, and we're going to talk. Speaking about lions, we're going to talk a little bit about the Lionsgate portal that we've just gone through, and I want to mention we do have a theme for today. We have a theme, and our theme for today is creativity, art, and color. And it is based a little bit on that Leo creative vibe. So where should we start, Tulip?
Well, maybe we should start with the Barbobasket of like this big outer planet, because Jupiter was just aligned with all these outer planets. So if you guys don't know, the inner planets move super quick. They're like changing and transitioning. But when you have these outer planets, they take a long time to shift. So the fact that the Barbobasket, which I'm hopefully pronouncing correctly, am I pronouncing that right?
I think it's pronounced Barbo. We don't, it's French, so I don't think we
Barbeau.
put the T on the end. It's kind of like tarot. You don't say the T. Tarot,
I love
just
it. See, we're
no T.
learning. But
He's
all of these,
French.
yes. And yeah, and didn't he predict this? There was
Yeah,
something about prediction
yes,
too.
years ago. And the Barbobasket, can I jump in here?
Yes,
You're
please.
absolutely right. Those outer planets, which the Barbobasket is mainly about, do move slower. You can think about the personal planets are closest to the sun, and that's why they define so much of our personality in a natal chart, because they're closest to our essence, right? Then you get into those outer planets, Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. Those deal more with the collective greater energies. Now they influence us absolutely, but more on a bigger kind of level. Now the Barbobasket it actually included like 5 planets in this very unique and very rare configuration that actually, when you look at it, looks like a basket. And what's really anchoring the basket is Jupiter in Leo. Now, part of that involves Pluto. And actually in the basket, Pluto and Leo are directly opposite each other. Pluto is the planet of death and rebirth and transformation. Leo, Jupiter, you've talked about Jupiter. So it's kind of this opposition that's happening, and ultimately an integration between the Jupiter, like you're saying, our Dharma, our good fortune, how we expand in the world, and Pluto, the underworld, the underground, the shadow energies. And so with the Barbobasket, one of the things I was really looking at is how do I integrate both of those? That bigger Jupiter, creative, bright, I'm authentic energy in Leo, and then also more that underground Pluto energy about what lies beneath. And I bet you found, and a lot of our listeners found, a lot of stuff came up there was that week. It's around the 17th, before and after, where I don't know, Tulip, did you just go, what the heck is going on? Because it felt very intense to me.
Yeah, and a lot of my friends are like texting me and they're like, "Is there something happening in the cosmos because this is crazy?" And I was like, "Yes." And then on top of that, we had a little bit of Mercury retrograde, and I know that that was really, I love Mercury retrograde because it allows us to rewind the tape a little bit, where it
Yeah.
feels like, okay, things are going to go a little bit slower and they might break down, but it shows us where we need to highlight new systems, in my opinion, new communication,
Yeah.
some clarity. And then also all of the, at least this is what I heard about the basket, is that all of them were in 4 degrees, which I thought
Yes.
was really interesting because four
Yeah.
is my favorite number in tarot because it's
Oh, it
to bring
is?
stability, right? And so I was like looking at it like, whoa, all of this is changing for my greatest and highest good to bring stability in my life. That's at least how I saw it.
No, but I love that. I mean, there's always so many different ways to look at stuff. And that's part of what I love about our conversations is I'm like, oh yeah, you're right. 4 degrees. I never thought about that for aspect to it. You know what I mean? And the planets were all sextiles and trines except for the opposition. So they were in harmony. But anytime you have planets aspecting each other, because there's in play, there's always some kind of friction. Right. So I'll
Hmm.
be curious to see, sometimes we need time to get through a transit or an alignment for things to kind of play out and integrate. But now, as we're recording this, we're on the other end of it. And I'm feeling like a lot of what I went through that week kind of starting to get in the mix a little bit and feel more integrated.
Yeah, the universe is doing our wash for us. That's what I think about. Like we're going through the washing machine, it's mixing things up, it's taking out all those old stains that don't need to be in our life anymore, and then they pop us through the next portal. So speaking of the next
Yes.
portal, it's Lionsgate 8-8. And what I'm so excited, okay, Lionsgate in Leo season is just like scrumptious. I mean, it's like you can't
Yeah.
really make that up because at least in tarot, not to bring it back there all the time, but 8 is the strength card, which has this huge,
Mm-hmm.
lion on it, kissing the mouth of, at least in my deck, but also many decks of, a person. And it's kind of like that real raw part of us that's inside, the creative part of us, the
Mm.
honest part of us, the soul part of us is meeting the person that we are in this world and navigating that, who goes to the, DMV and like all that stuff. Like it's like we are coming in together into our mastery, into the Lionsgate portal, into the mouth of the lion.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, tell me a little bit more because I'm not a big expert on the Lionsgate, and I know we got through it and all that. So talk to us, like, what can we do with that energy of the Lionsgate portal?
So I know that you had mentioned energetic timelines, and that's kind of how I think of this
Mm.
8-8 portal. It's almost like an opening or a mouth opening. It's like something has expanded in your life so much that it's ready for you to walk through it to the other side.
Mm.
So much about manifestations, we're like, okay, I want to leave this behind. I want to call this in, which I think is a very important part of mastery of energy. We got to make room for things. But the way that I think of Lion Gate is it's actually an up level. So we're
Mm.
actually moving to another level in our life. And if you think about, the seasons, and it's like fall, we're preparing now for what we're going to go into for our winter season and planting all these different seeds that will come out on the other side next year in spring and summer. So it's a big entering of a portal of how are you up leveling in your life. So even if
Yeah.
8-8 is over now at the time of this episode, you are still in the very beginning steps of your new energetic timeline. So who are you showing up as? What's a new kind of belief system that you have in your life? Instead of saying life is so hard, life is so chaotic, life is so hectic, what's a different timeline that you as a person are shining in? Everything is easy. I got this. I figure everything out.
I would like, especially like that last one. Yes, I have everything figured out. You know what that reminds me? I've been saying so much lately to everybody. It's like the older I get, the less I know. And you know what I mean? And in this world, it feels like there's, and that's not a bad place to be, in that place of like not knowing, right? To have that openness. I also, what I'm really hearing here or cluing into is that manifestation word, right? About the lion portal, like opening up this opportunity to walk into maybe a higher or a bigger sense of manifestation for yourself. And as you're talking about timelines, maybe we should talk a little bit about that, because I hear that all over social media, all over YouTube, all over the internet. Everybody's talking about timelines and timeline shifts. So do we want to talk a little bit about that? Because to me, a timeline represents an energetic potential. And I do believe we have different timelines out there. Like, for example, in a reading, when I'm looking at stuff and I'm looking at the energy psychically, I'm looking at different timelines for people and what the energies are there. So I love this idea of shifting timelines. So do you want to add anything onto that about, what you think about timelines or how you would explain timelines to people?
Yeah, I think the best way that I can say it in layman's terms to someone is that if someone had told me 2 years ago that I would be moving to my favorite street in San Francisco on the 8
Mm.
8 Lionsgate portal and have this beautiful palm tree outside my window, I'd be like, I don't believe you. How? How is that possible? But I've shifted timelines. So it's kind of like we can only see our reality ish from where we're at this vantage point. But shifting timelines is like how your life I'm sure we all can look back at our life and be like, if someone would have told me that like 2 years ago, I would never have believed them. So it's like, how can we shift our timelines and make our dreams and desires happen? We've all been through it. We all know what that's like, but can we believe that it can keep going? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah, totally, totally. And I think, one of the things that I really resonates for me here is the idea of some choice. You know what I mean? That, hey, get in the driver's seat. And,
Yes.
because I'm sure that you did some work to align with that timeline, the timeline that you wanted. And by the way, congrats on your new home on your favorite street with a palm tree. I mean, Tulip, that congratulations. That's so awesome, right? On
Thank
the
you.
Lionsgate. Woo woo.
I know.
So, right?
Can't make
Right?
it
That's
up. You really
magic.
can't
That's
make it up.
magic.
Like, yeah, it's
That's
magic.
magic. Right? But it doesn't always fall out of the sky. You probably did work. You focused your intentions. You meditated. You did, you really worked to align your energies with that specific timeline. And the idea again with timelines is when you align, you can shift from one possibility or potential onto another, or you can shift from this like mundane, nothing's happening timeline into things are happening. So do you have any tricks for people about, getting on the right timeline? I think that would be, I'd love to hear that.
So this is like, I think the biggest trick of the trade, and the reason why I wanted to talk about colors is I truly believe that colors are a frequency. Thoughts are a
Mm-hmm.
frequency. Our moods give out a frequency, right? And so when I look at the stars and what's going on, or I start to journal with the moon, or anything of those types of manifestation portals, is the way I look at them, and I'm dreaming up, scheming up, using my imagination what I want in my life to align with my highest timeline. It's I will use creativity. So a lot of people do vision boards, but I love screenshotting on my phone. Let's be honest. We're all like, going here and there and using our phones. So I'll screenshot on my phone things that I love. Then I also will start to align what I'm wearing. So if I'm going to be needing some power, some confidence, some of that Leo energy, I'll be starting to put in a lot of red in my wardrobe, because I'm kind of feeling, not that I'm forcing, but I'm pushing into my new timeline. I'm letting myself believe that I can have it. So I'll use a color that really is a strong energy. If I'm trying to use my imagination and dream it up, I might use my third eye chakra color, which is that, purple. You guys see me wear lavender and purple all the time because that's me being like, I can believe that something in that timeline wants me just as much as I want it. What is that thing?
Mm,
What can I desire? What is mine? What about you?
yeah. Well, no, I love that. And, when we were talking about doing this show and what we were going to talk about, and I think that, us coming up with color, it so resonates for both of us. Like for me as an artist, one of the things I've really kind of figured out in my process is how important color is. And I'm a collage artist, and a lot of times I do analog collage, so it's all cut and paste. I will just like start putting images together based on color. And then from the color and what's coming up and the feeling, or like you're saying, frequency or vibration, because yes, colors do have frequency and vibration, then the whole thing starts to take on a life of its own. But color is so important, I feel like, to that equation. And I love that you're talking about being very intentional with color and creating with colors and pulling in the chakras. That's amazing. So one of the things like I was thinking about today is we are going to be talking about Leo and creativity. And that's why I wore a hot pink shirt today, which is a
Which I
little bit outside.
love.
Thank you. It's a little bit outside my my comfort zones. I am usually a little bit more subdued, but I kind of went for it. But I also felt like it would kind of pull in a little bit of those heart energies, right? Because Leo is ruled by the heart in astrology.
Mm.
And so to like bring in heart energies, bring in pink, you know what I mean? That rosy, beautiful pink color. And it just automatically, I think, aligns or balances your heart chakra. So I love this idea.
And it feels really playful. Like I love how the pink is
Yes.
like heart chakra, and it feels playful. It feels like I want to give you a hug through the screen.
Oh,
When
thank
someone's
you.
wearing pink, it's just so beautiful. Also, congratulations to your new art page. That's
Oh,
in
thank you.
order.
Yes, I just started an art page, and this all came out of like, a lot of like digging in deep about who I am and what I really want. And I've always wanted to like have an art page on my website, so check it out. And because I so much of my creative process, and I'm sure you can relate to this, has been creating art for decks. Like we've both done the tarot deck, right? And then I have an angel deck that's in the work that will be out soon. But with these new pieces of art, what I'm doing is really giving myself permission just to create art, not art for a deck, not art for this or that. And it was so amazing to be in that energy and let kind of what come through wanted to come through. And it almost like the images and the colors guided me into the piece.
Ooh.
So it wasn't like, I'm going to do this for the art. It really felt like a very immersive, creative, energetic experience. And the other thing is, you talked about when you're shifting timelines or focusing on manifestation, you also use art as a way of creating that vision, of opening those portholes to being able to see and experience something differently. And so we're in Leo season. So this is the time to be doing some art. And you could even look at it as a part of your spiritual practice.
Oh, yes. And even like looking at wallpaper or now like because I'll be designing my home and I love loud colors and it kind of goes into feng shui, which we'll be having Cindy on the one of my feng shui, our mutual friend and my feng shui teacher. Um, but every single color kind of also has like an elemental to it as well. So if you have something that's checkered, that's feeling like fire energy, it can be zesty, it's animated, it's alive, that patterning's alive versus just one color, one solid color. So for instance, your shirt right now, Megan, which is so cute, it's like it has multicolors. And so that's why it feels probably a little bit more playful than just a strong one color frequency. And
Yeah.
so mine has a pattern on it, for instance, the shirt that I'm wearing, and it will draw you in. And so it has a different frequency than if I was just wearing a plain shirt. And I think
Yeah.
that when you're thinking about your new paradigm, slingshotting yourself into this new timeline, I think we all can sit down and ask ourselves some questions of like, if we could have it all, if we could imagine our ideal, what would that look like? And if you're having a hard time having those questions answered in yourself, that can come into, wow, do we feel like we're deserving of
Mm.
having something different? And then that's why I like that it's all in Leo season, because Leo season's all about you are deserving. You can sit back, relax under a tree and have your, yawning in your shadow and you can be in your power. So how can we tune into our power? And then another one that I love color wise is orange and yellow, because those are those
Yeah.
are, yeah,
Yes.
creativity. So if you think of like a
Yes.
horizon line, the sun, rising or the sun setting, it's like that beautiful portal energy that everyone feels in a sunset or a sunrise. And you
Mm.
can tap into that warmth, that strength, look at a candle. But there's something about that orange yellow feeling that makes us feel alive, that there's a burning passion or desire.
Yeah. Yeah. And of course, orange is second chakra and yellow's the third chakra, the will chakra. No, I like those colors a lot as well. And you mentioned something here too, Tulip, that I'm finding very intriguing, which is about the idea of deservedness. And honestly, and I don't mean to be like I'm the expert on Leo. It's just that I have Leo rising, so I know a little bit more
Girl,
about
own
that.
it. Leo owning
Yeah, a
it.
little bit more about, I could write a book on Leo, right? But that is what I would call like a Leo issue to some degree. Leo is ruled by the sun, and the sun is the center of the solar system, and all planets orbit around the sun. And I think oftentimes Leos get a bad rap, if you will, for like being selfish or orbit around me or everybody come into my world. And the thing about the Leo, when Leo is in balance and that big, bright sun energy comes from the heart, it is such a high vibration. And the other word I would use is generous. I mean, Leo at its best is really giving, really generous. And what I've often told people in my life is it took me forever to figure out that the world does not revolve around me, which is very Leo. And listen, I'm a smart girl. I'm pretty self-aware. I've done the work. But honestly, it took me a long time to go, oh, it's not all about me. So, if you have Leo energy or you tend to be a little bit self-involved, give yourself a break. You know what I mean? Sometimes we have to learn these things. They don't always come natural to us. But the other thing about Leo energy is here's this big, bright energy. And sometimes it does come up about, do I deserve to be seen? There can be some underlying self-worth issues there. Like, I don't deserve to be seen. I don't deserve to like have art out in the world. Who am I to shine my light? And is my light too big and too bright? Those, I think, are very strong Leo issues.
And I like that we talk about like the different octaves, like the different
Mm-hmm.
dimensions of one sign. And again, we all have Leo in our charts. We might not have
Exactly. Right.
planets there. It might not be part of our big three, but we all have a Leo placement, a
Yes.
house there. So if you want to look at your chart and find the Leo, you'll see what house it falls under. Each house has a focus area. So that's what's going to be highlighted for this Leo season for you. So even if you're not a Leo, but I did have a client that was a Leo, and she's like, I don't feel like a Leo. I don't want to be the center of attention. I don't want to be seen. I was like, totally understand that. But are you loyal? Are you
Mm,
fierce as with your
mm-hmm.
people? Yes, she
Mm-hmm.
is. She will fight, not fight, but it's like that she has this strength around her inner
Mm.
circle. She also is so fabulous. She's a fashionista. And it's not to be
Ah,
seen, but it's to make herself feel seen, right? Seeing
yeah.
yourself. And so there's such a beautiful octave of how far the Leo energy can go. And it can be around your own little solar system of your own little family or, inner
Yeah.
circles, right?
Yeah, totally. And the other thing is you're talking about your Leo client. I think sometimes people forget that the word creative doesn't have to be artistic. It's like, cause I think I
Mm.
hear when I say to someone, "Oh, you're so creative." And they're like, just like your client. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. But creativity, we're all creative by nature, just being a human being. We're here to create life. We're here to create experiences. So to maybe, if you're getting a little stuck with your creative process out there, is take it out of the artistic, zone. Listen, there's nothing wrong with the artistic part of it, but, again, look at the desire that you may have to express something, to be unique in some way, to have your clothes or your life or your chair like reflect who you are. And I think that's a real Leo signature is I want my life to reflect something that is very unique to me. And it's something that makes me different than anybody else. And that could be wearing the color gray. You know what I mean? That could be your very Leo unique, this is who I am kind of
If
thing.
it comes from the heart,
Yeah.
then it
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
Leo
Yeah.
expression, right?
That's
Because it's
all
your
Leo. Yeah.
unique codes.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. So as we're talking about this is a wonderful time, in the next few weeks or through Leo season, create some art, take some risks. That's the thing. It was funny when I was creating my latest art piece, I actually kind of got nervous about it because it was like, I'm not doing this for this or for that. I'm just going to open myself up. And I think it takes courage. I think it takes courage to create art. I think it takes courage to write something, to dress the way you feel, to make that piece of art. That is a courageous act, right? To put yourself out there, to be seen, to be unique. You know what I mean? So
And to
don't
not get
forget that.
validation, like what you just said.
Yeah,
I love it. It's like the courageousness, I think, is kind of like the courageous part is that you're not doing it for another person or for
right.
validation. You're just doing it because it's that creative, courageous act.
Yeah, and I think that's tricky though. I don't know about you, but for me, I'm doing it just for myself. But at the end of the day, it was a big wink there. I want people to see it and I want to be seen. So I think I'll just say that. Maybe that's a little my shadow Leo because you're talking about the different octaves of the signs, there's evolved Leo and then there's the not so evolved Leo. And all the signs, of course, have a shadow energy. So that could be a little bit of my shadow side. Like, yeah, I'm just doing it for me and all that. But at the end of the day, I would like you to like it. And I think that's just part of it too sometimes.
Exactly. I think that's actually quite healthy. I wouldn't even say that that's the shadow.
Hmm.
I think the difference between wanting to be seen and witnessed in your expression, which is what it at least
Mm.
sounds like to me, is different than I'm going to keep, what's it called? Treading my water or wheels constantly until I get the validation from someone or something else. Do you
Yeah,
see
yeah,
what I mean? There's one
yeah,
that's like a
yeah.
witness and one that's more I'm digging until you tell me to stop. And that's like I would say a shadow part.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's all really good stuff to think about. You know what I mean?
Right.
As we're integrating the Barbobasket, as we're integrating the Lionsgate portal, as we're integrating Jupiter and Leo, which will be going on for the next year. So you've got a little bit of time on that, right? I think we're all just integrating so many different energies right now. And I think the message here too is, don't be hard on yourself. Try to be in your heart for yourself. You know what I mean?
And there are days where I will look at my wardrobe, and if anyone knows me or sees my outfits, usually I do color coordinate. Like I'll do like color blocking basically, where I like wear everything that's pink or everything that's purple and different shades, but it's like it's really fun for me. And I had gotten that idea from a chakra class that I was taking where they were like, just try it every day of the week. Just try to wear a different color and witness and observe how people see you, how people witness you,
Mm,
how you see and
mm,
witness yourself when you catch your reflection, when you're walking by a store. Do you have your shoulders a little bit
mm,
more
mm,
straight, or do
mm,
you feel
mm,
like,
mm,
ooh, this is a little bit too much and I'm being seen too much, So it's been a
mm.
really fun experiment. And then I've integrated that practice into my life because I've seen how powerful it can be with the portal energies.
Yeah, with the portal's energy. So color is a portal. That's what you're saying. Say more about that. Of color being a portal. I want to hear a little bit more about that.
So the first time that I actually really saw it and tried it was I was asking for a raise at work. And I wanted to be showing up in my power. And it's not a fake power, it's a power of I have done these things and I am sticking up for myself because I do feel like I am deserving of this. And I remember wearing a red sweatshirt. And already before I saw, before we got on the Zoom, this is during COVID, I saw myself in the Zoom box with the red and I was like, whoa, is this too much? Is this going to like scare the other person if I'm asking for a raise and I'm wearing this powerful red color? And I ended up having to also give a presentation later that day. And so first of all, I got the raise. The person was
Wow.
like, I
Awesome.
believe you. Yes, you've done all these things. I recognize it. Like it was smooth as butter. And I felt so divine. I felt very
Mm,
like
mm.
this is aligned. I jumped a timeline. I jumped a portal. I was able to
Yeah.
walk through it because this color was my shield. Same like what people talk about lipstick, when they put on a red lip or a pink lip or a purple lip, whatever it is, it gives you a different confidence, a different vibe.
Mm.
And then when I had my presentation and I wore that red sweater, I can't tell you how many people like chatted me on Slack. They're like, I love your sweater. And so, it was the first
Wow.
time to play with color and I feel like it knocked it out of the park.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. That's amazing. And I think that sometimes we feel like we oversimplify this, like, oh, color's not important. What you wear is not important. And I think what we're really realizing here is, again, all of this carries vibration. I mean, isn't at the end of the day, it's all about frequency and vibration because we're energy beings and that's the nature of the planet. So this is another way in to that energy and that vibration. And it is through that color, which is so, so powerful. Wow. I'm inspired.
I am too. And I was going to say one more thing that there's so much to talk about with color theory. They talk about that as like an artist and design. But if you think about it, packaging, websites, branding,
Mm-hmm.
like it really is all about a color. Like I think they
Yeah.
say, a lot of beauty products are in that blue because it brings that calming energy is like what they're trying to talk about. And then there's Target and like all these other colors that are red and
Mm.
they're in your face and they catch your attention. And um if if we know logically, like if you weren't a spiritual woo woo person, but logically how color can invoke things in the world, why not use it for yourself? Like that
Yeah.
is a power tool, a
Yeah.
power trick, right?
Yeah, absolutely. It's a power trick. It is. It's a manifestation trick. It's an
Right.
alignment trick. All of that. I love it. I love it. This has been, like I said, so inspirational. What a great conversation. All of that. I'm inspired to wear more color now. We'll see how Megan shows up here, but thank you so much for this conversation, Tulip. And I have to tease our next show, because next time on Calling in the Universe, we are going to be talking about symbols. Symbols. There we go. There's Tulip with the red phone. So stay tuned for that one.
Yes, thank you so much for listening, spending your time with us. Our episodes come out every other Tuesday, so we hope that you look forward to our next one about symbols. I mean, I cannot wait to see and pick your brain, Megan, about symbols, because
Me
as
too.
tarot creators, I'm like, wow, I feel like we could really get into it, and symbols are so powerful. So thank you so much for being here. Like, share, and we will see you soon.
That wraps up another episode of Calling in the Universe. We want to thank our producer, Nick Patry, and also you for listening. We love building community with you.
Drop us a line with a question or a topic you'd like us to talk about. Leave us a message on callingintheuniverse.studio or email us at callingintheuniverse@gmail.com. We love to hear from you.